Good morning. How are you doing? Well, today we're going to learn more about Roger Williams. You already learned a little bit about him in chapter 5, I believe. But we need to learn more about this guy. He was really ahead of his time. Kind of thinks like we do in modern day America. So it's really cool to learn about this guy. It's someone you can be proud of. A lot of the heroes you're going to hear about usually have these big flaws, and that we all do. We're all human. But some of them are big flaws, like someone used to own slaves, or someone was mean to Native Americans. But this guy was ahead of his time and seemed to be thinking like we do, to treat everyone equally, no matter what race or religion. And he started the colony of Rhode Island because Massachusetts wasn't doing that. And okay, let's learn about Roger. And here we go. And hopefully I won't lose my place this time. It is hard to do these small print on the videos. Wish me luck. Chapter 17, Roger Williams. The Puritans, who were victims of intolerance in England, were not tolerant themselves. Although they preached the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, most never understood they were breaking that rule. Roger Williams did. Williams was a Puritan minister who came to Massachusetts seeking a pure religious community. Like the other Puritans, he was a serious Christian. Like the others, he disapproved of Catholic and Quaker ideas. Like the others, he thought the Indian religions were pagan. But that's where, like the others, stops. He didn't believe in forcing anyone to believe as he did. He believed that killing or punishing in the name of Christianity was sinful. He thought that church members, not general taxes, should pay the bills at each church. He respected the beliefs of others. Those were strange ideas in 17th century Massachusetts. The Puritans didn't know what to do with Roger Williams. He was a Puritan, he was brilliant, he was a minister, and he was so nice that even his opponents had a hard time disliking him. But what an ungrateful young man he seemed. The Puritans had offered him good jobs as teacher and minister, and he thanked them by criticizing their practices. Governor Winthrop was shocked. So was John Cotton, the minister who took a job that Williams refused. They were especially shocked when Williams wrote a book saying it was wrong to persecute people for their beliefs. Williams called his book The Bloody Tenant. The blood was from those killed because of their religious ideas. So, John Cotton wrote his own book. He called it The Bloody Tenant Washed and Made White. Of course, that didn't end it. Williams' next book was The Bloody Tenant Made Yet More Bloody by Mr. Cotton's endeavor to wash it white in the blood of the Lamb. The blood of the Lamb would be reference to Jesus. So in other words, he's saying you're making it even worse by trying to clean it because you're just wrong. When Roger Williams started preaching that land shouldn't be taken from the Indians, that the king had no right to charter land that didn't belong to him, that was too much. The officers of the Massachusetts Bay Colony made arrangements to ship Williams back to England. They sent armed men to put him on a boat. Roger Williams' wife heard the verdict of the court that he was to be arrested and banished, and began to cry. Williams told her 50 good men did what they thought was just. Roger Williams didn't hold grudges. But he wasn't about to let himself get shipped back to England. And so he fled from Massachusetts. It was January 1636. He was sick and the weather was freezing. Later, when he was an old man, Roger Williams would still remember that terrible winter. He was always thankful to the Narragansett Indians who helped him survive the cold. He learned to love them as they loved him. He bought land from the Indians and started a colony called Providence. It became the capital of Rhode Island and soon attracted many of those who were not wanted elsewhere. Someone described Providence as the place where all the cranks of New England go. There were plenty of cranks in Providence, but there were also many who were searching for what Williams called freedom of conscience. When Roger Williams said freedom of conscience, he meant the freedom of each person to follow his own mind and heart and choose his own religion. That was to become an important right in America. And that's what we have now, guys and ladies. That's what we're doing. We have freedom of religion, freedom of choice. Roger Williams welcomed everyone who wished to come to Rhode Island, including Quakers and Catholics. And while he continued to disagree with those religions, he never let that stop him liking some of the people who practiced them. Jews, who were often persecuted elsewhere, were welcome in Rhode Island. Atheists were welcome too. An atheist is someone who doesn't believe in any religion, by the way, right here. A tenet is a basic idea, a fundamental concept, and atheists believe there is no God. Williams believed that state government should not have any connection with the church. We call that separation of church and state. It was a very new idea at the time. He knew that people could be forced to go to church, but that no one's mind could be forced to believe. Forced worship stinks in God's nostrils, said Roger Williams. That means that it stinks to God, like it's smelly, it's wrong, odious. He learned the language of the Narragansett Indians and wrote a book so that others could learn it, too. In it, he included these rhymes about the Indians. Sometimes God gives them fish or flesh, yet they're content without. And what comes in, they part to friends and strangers round about. If nature's sons, both wild and tame, humane and courteous be, how ill becomes its sons of God to want humanity. In other words, he's saying in a poem that the Native Americans are being nice and friendly, and you're trying to say you're sons of God, and yet you're being mean. When the Narragansett chief, Conocus, was dying, he called for Roger Williams to be with him. White men had destroyed the Indian chief's kingdom, and he hated most of them. But Williams and Conocus had something in common. Each was able to judge people by their character, not by their skin color or religion. They loved and respected each other. Edmund S. Morgan, who wrote a book about Roger Williams, said, "We may praise him for his defense of religious liberty and the separation of church and state. He deserves the tribute, but it falls short of the man. His greatness was simpler. He dared to think."